Dark and Darker, the PvPvE game from Ironmace Studios that captivated many, including myself, has been delisted from Steam, and things aren't looking very good for the title. In fact, you might say that it's gotten kind of dark. And if that pun didn't make you run away screaming, I've got some news for you on the game. Dark and Darker has been delisted from Steam due to a DMCA takedown. Some of you may remember another in-development title that was delisted from Steam for a DMCA takedown recently, The Day Before. But the situations couldn't be more different. With The Day Before, there was questions over whether the game actually existed at all, and if it did, would it ship or even look anything like the initial trailers? In the case of Dark and Darker, the game has been played by thousands of players, many of whom have thoroughly enjoyed it. The problem is that it might actually not be their game. Well, kind of. We have to back up a moment to talk about Ironmace, the game's creators, and where they came from. Ironmace is a 20-person team, and about half of them or around that are former Nexon employees, according to IGN and Eurogamer sources, something that was hinted at on Ironmace's website. We are a merry band of veteran game developers disillusioned by the exploitative and greedy practices we once helped create. We are experts who have worked on many of the biggest hits in Korea. Well, it may not have been one of the biggest hits, but it sounds like they may have actually been working on what could have been a big hit in Korea for Nexon, called P3. In this, you can see a side-by-side for P3, which was kind of announced back in 2021 by Nexon, and then Dark and Darker. Obviously, there is a lot of similarities here, but that doesn't mean all of that much. There's a lot of similarities in lots of different games, but there's some issues. There's a ton of rumors circling about how the departure from Nexon may or may not have happened, but I wasn't able to find any sources to substantiate those rumors, so we're not really going to talk about that specifically. But if you do a quick Google search, I'm sure you'll find something. But the major accusation, and the accusation that has been public, is that the team may have stolen code from Nexon to create Dark and Darker. Essentially meaning that the game that was created, the graphics, all these different things, as well as the code, may actually not belong to them. It is subject of copyright, no compete clauses, all kinds of things like that. Stuff that I personally don't know about. Up to this point, Dark and Darker really felt like a really great feel-good story about a small indie developer that was disillusioned with all the greed that was in the gaming space and was trying to create a game for gamers. And I want to make clear here that it may still be that. We don't have all the details yet. But what was a cloud over Dark and Darker has now become a f***ing thunderstorm. Things came to a head in March of 2023. First, Ironmace had its offices searched by Korean officials, and while they reportedly found nothing based on the official statement from Ironmace, that was only the beginning of a very, very bad month for Dark and Darker. The game was delisted from Steam due to a DMCA takedown, which was further explained via an announcement by Ironmace on their Discord server that read, "To all our fans, we have recently been served a cease and desist letter and a DMCA takedown by Nexon regarding Dark and Darker based on distorted claims. We are currently working with our legal team to remedy this issue in the best manner possible. Due to the sensitive legal nature of this issue, we must be careful with our statements as to not jeopardize our position." This brings us to today, and honestly, it doesn't look great. The claims are pretty severe about stolen code and gameplay assets and visuals and rules, all things that purportedly belong to P3, the game that they may or may not have been working on with Nexon, which eventually got canceled by Nexon. I'm no legal expert. I'm just a YouTuber who talks about games. So I can't say whether this game will release, if it does release, if it'll even be ethical to play it or not. But really, honestly, all I can say is that what it feels like is that no matter what's gonna happen, the biggest loser in this is gonna be us, the gamers, the people that may have enjoyed the game, but may never get to see it. Not the Nexon version or the Ironmace version, as it gets locked up in all these legal troubles. I will continue to hope for the best, and I will continue to hope that Ironmace Nexon can come to some kind of agreement and that hopefully things weren't done under some shady, nefarious ways. In the meantime, there is one thing that I think we can be pretty certain about, and that is that their planned test for early to mid-April from Dark and Darker, well, it's probably not going to happen. I mean, the game's not even available on Steam at the moment, after all. If this is, in fact, the end of Dark and Darker, well, then at least we have the memories like this. Shit. Okay.
I'm in danger.
I had no chance. Here's hoping for the best in this game for the teams involved, for the teams at Nexon, for the teams at Ironmace, and that things are resolved in a way that is nice for everyone, and that we don't end up with some pay-to-win version of this that is going to be published by Nexon, because that may actually be what I'm expecting at this point. Thank you so much for watching.